from Tampa Bay streaming news leader. This is ABC Action News.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul LeGros. Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips has the latest on Tropical Storm Fred in just a moment. But first, your top stories at this hour. New weekly numbers out from the state on COVID-19. More than 151,000 new cases reported to the state in the last week. That is compared to over 134,000 cases the week before. Health and Human Services says nearly 16,000 people are being treated for COVID at this hour. That number is also rising by almost 100 overnight, setting a new record. Almost 50% of ICU beds are now in use for COVID. And sadly, 1,071 more COVID-19 deaths were reported in the state in the last week. That includes 2 more under the age of 16. The state's report shows 286 deaths because, remember, they're listing the deaths that actually happened between August 6th and August 11th. But because of a backlog in reporting, the state continues to receive reports of deaths that happened in previous weeks and months, which is how we arrived at that 1,071 number. Meanwhile, in a unanimous vote today, the CDC recommending immunocompromised people should receive an additional dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. This only applies to mRNA vaccines like Pfizer and Moderna. Medical experts said that there was insufficient data on how long the Johnson & Johnson vaccine lasts. It is not an mRNA vax. And next to the big surprise that greeted a couple in Palm Harbor this morning, that huge hole in their front yard with the cars swallowed up inside. A neighbor knocked on their door to let them know. They quickly evacuated, and their neighbors. The county says that the home is not a safe place for them to stay tonight, and experts have to figure out now if there is any risk of this hole getting any bigger or whether or not it's a sinkhole. And now let's send it to meteorologist Dennis Phillips with the latest on the forecast. Dennis.
How you doing, everybody? Another round of strong storms on Friday, more widespread than they've been the last few days. Most everybody picked up at least some rain, some heavier rain still along the coast. First half of Saturday, I think, is going to be fine. So even though we're going to be talking about Fred and a potential for some heavier rains along the coast, that will not be the case inland. And I think most of the area stays dry the first half of Saturday and only isolated showers and storms in the afternoon. So really not a bad first half of the weekend. And I even think on Sunday, in spite of the fact there will be some bands coming into our coastal areas, most inland areas will not see much, if any, rain and no wind out of this. Along the coast, maybe winds gusting 20 to 25, 30 miles an hour. Not a big deal. There will be some rain, and that's, of course, not necessarily helpful considering how much rain we've already had most of the week. Florida's most accurate 7-day. We get the scattered showers around there on Saturday. Heavier rains along the coast on Sunday. Inland, not so much. Although I think Fred eventually approaches the panhandle on Monday. And next week looks like pretty much just a typical summer week with late day storms.